What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Erica, the author, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Sunday. I hope your day has gotten off to a great start. I am here to do my weekly review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is episode, well, guys, it switched up on us. Last time I think I did my review, I think I said it was season 10, maybe episode 17 or 18. Well, they switched up on us, guys. They're now saying that this is season 11, episode 3. So as you can see, now we're in a new season 11. It was called Motor City. Here we come. So this episode, guys, was really good. We're used to seeing these people on the show. We're used to seeing them fuss and fight and argue, talk about issues that they've been talking about for a very long time. We're used to kind of seeing the drama of it all. Well, this particular episode was more about just getting to know some of these people a little bit better. You know, oftentimes we see how they act, but we really don't know where they come from. So to see where they come from, it sort of kind of helps you to see maybe why they act the way they do or why they are the way they are. And so I thought that this was a really good episode. So let's get into it. This episode was pretty much dedicated to Destiny. I would say the Sky Brothers, there was a lot going on with them too, but this was definitely more of a Destiny episode. So let's get into it. The opening scene was a continuation with Ken and LATRICIA. They were at Dr. Francis's office. We know that Dr. Francis has always been the leading life coach or therapist on this show. Mostly everyone on this show has already seen him at some point. Well, Ken and LATRICIA are now there. Again, last week the episode left off with them arguing. They're still arguing, and now Dr. Francis is sort of standing in the middle of them. I don't think that Dr. Francis has seen them or heard them say anything that he hasn't seen or heard before, but it's just the fact that now he's starting to see the dynamic between Ken and LATRICIA. Dr. Francis has already been talking to LATRICIA quite a bit about her life and what's going on and what she needs to work on, and now he's sort of seeing Ken now, and he's watching them bicker and go back and forth. So you could tell that he was sort of assessing what's really going on. So he asked them, like I said, the continuation, the arguing continued. Ken said that LATRICIA's quick to throw him under the bus, but she doesn't really necessarily praise him or tell him when he's doing a good job. And LATRICIA's thing is Ken has just as much of an attitude as she does. She's not the only one with anger issues. She says that he also has anger issues as well. And, you know, we can kind of see that now. You know, just these past few episodes, or since the season has somewhat been back on it, even a little bit last season, you could kind of see that Ken does, you know, get angry. I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to be angry, but we have seen a little difference in Ken, or a different side to Ken. So Dr. Francis said, well, talk about what really attracted you guys to each other and what makes you want to be together. LATRICIA said that she loves Ken. She says that, but she misses them having fun. She said when they met, they had a really good time. They communicated really well, and they had a great time together. She says the kids love him. They miss that. They miss out on all the fun times. She even said that her daughter Zaria wants them to stop fighting. Ken kind of softened to that. He said he did agree. He said they did have fun together, and they do have a pretty good, I guess you would say, family dynamic with the four of them. And he said, I guess their problem is that they need to turn off the outside noise. So Dr. Francis turned to Ken and said, Ken, you know, I want you to tell me, what are you willing to do and what promises are you willing to make despite how LATRICIA acts or continues to act? And I thought that was a really good question, and an important question for Dr. Francis to answer, because guys, we know, and when you're in a relationship, oftentimes we're always doing this, we're always pointing our finger at the other person, but oftentimes we're not willing to talk about what we need to do, how we need to change, or what changes we need to make so that things can go smoother as well. So Ken said that he is willing to work on his communication and to try to communicate better, I guess, even without maybe leaving. He didn't specifically say that, but I'm assuming when he said communicate better, whatever the issue is with them communicating, he's going to work on that. So maybe that's just with him jumping up, leaving, or sort of, storming off or whatever. Maybe he's going to work on that. LATRICIA said that she's going to work on, and I thought that was good, because if Ken is really going to ever be this quote unquote leader of this family, if he and LATRICIA were to get married, or even if they stay together and he's sort of like the male figure in their home, I think that Ken being the man, sometimes he will probably have to sort of fall on the sword a little bit. So I thought that it was very key for Dr. Francis to ask him first what he's willing to do. LATRICIA said that she's willing to tell Ken that she loves him more, and she's also willing to tell Ken that and to hug him more. So maybe that's something that Ken really wants. Maybe he needs a little more affection, and she's willing to give him that. And I wrote in my notes that they're a work in progress. That's all we can say. We don't know how Ken and LATRICIA are doing to this day. I don't really follow them on social media. I don't know a whole lot about them, but perhaps they're doing well. Perhaps they're still at the same point. I just don't know. I'm sure we will find out as the season, sort of goes on, and maybe once we get to the reunion. But right now, they are a work in progress. So that was the end of that. We saw Destiny. She arrived in Detroit. We know that Destiny is there to meet up with her siblings that she's never met, and also just to have not a one-on-one, but a meet up with her mother, Rhonda. Destiny said that it took her a total of 10 years to find all of the siblings. One thing about Destiny, I could see that Destiny really has taken on the big sister role. She had a brother, Terrell, who passed away. But Destiny really has taken on that big sister role with all of the siblings, just trying to orchestrate everything, trying to get everything together. And you can tell that she really takes pride in that. She has already linked up with her sister Paula. I think she said they've already met up like 3 times and spent time together on 3 separate occasions. So they seem pretty comfortable with each other, but they just have to meet up with everyone else now. So they were talking about what they kind of felt like it would probably be like with everyone together in one room. There is a little anxiety, and I would say that that's probably normal. I don't think that's anything out of the norm when you've never met your mom and you've never met your other sisters. That could probably, weigh on you a lot, and you really don't know what's going to happen or what's going to take place. So I totally understood, their conversation and the nerves that they kind of felt about that. Kimmy and Letitia came to Destiny's suite. While Paula was there, they were talking. They asked, how was she feeling? Destiny said she actually had anxiety. They asked how could they help. Destiny said in her confessional, she said, she's had some issues with Kimmy and Tisha, but, they are trying to be supportive, and she's going to take that for what it is. And I totally understood what she's saying. She's not putting unrealistic expectations on their friendship. This is not going to make them go back and be best friends, but she does appreciate what they're doing in the moment. And so I really agree with that. I took that as Destiny being, just kind of handling things the way she should. Destiny told them that she's going to meet up with them, or the family's going to meet up. She said maybe once after they meet their mom, maybe Kimmy, Letitia, and the gang can come over and kind of hang out with them. But the initial meetup, no. So they said, so Kimmy said, yeah, just give us a call. It's not a problem. Just keep us in the loop, and that's good. So we see them going back. We see Kimmy and Letitia actually go back to their suite. They're talking to MARSAU and Maurice. MARSAU was saying, hey, Destiny has a big, task ahead of her. He said he can only imagine what that feels like and what that would mean to her, and how you would have to deal with that. He said he can kind of feel the anxiety for her. He kind of feels that. And I kind of feel the same way. If you know your parents, even if whether the relationship is good or bad, you know what it is. But if you have never met your mom and you're a fully grown man or woman, or you have all these siblings, you've never met them, I'm sure that can be, bring about some nerves, and it's kind of nail biting, and you don't really know what to expect. You're hoping for the best, but you really don't know what to expect. So That was like a good scene. Kimmy even said that oftentimes, she said when she was going through her cancer, she said that sometimes you don't really know how much you need people. She said, she said when she was going through her bout with cancer, Kimmy was saying, in other words, I kind of pushed people away in a sense. People didn't really know whether to come and visit me or sort of leave me alone. She said, but the times when they sort of pushed past, maybe even what I was feeling and came to see me and spend time with me, she said that helped more than, she ever even knew. So she was saying, in other words, you have to let people be there for you when you're going through those hard times. And I agree with that too. Oftentimes people really don't mean any harm. I know sometimes it's hard to let people in. Some people have major trust issues, and it's just not easy based on what they've gone through. But sometimes people really do mean well, and oftentimes those people have been sent to you and sent into your life to help you and to be there for you. So I was glad that Kimmy said that. So the guys, they were saying that they're looking forward to seeing their father, and we will talk more about that as the episode goes on. So Destiny and her sister Paula, they actually they finally make it to meet up with the siblings. When Destiny walked in to the facility or wherever they were meeting everyone, Destiny lit up like a Christmas tree. Her grandmother was there, her two brothers were there, and she had another sister there. And of course, Paula was with them as well. The grandmother, Destiny, was happy to see her grandmother. She knows her grandmother extremely well. Her grandmother sort of cried. Her grandmother said that she had been wanting to do this for 27 years. I think that's what Destiny's aunt said. I can't remember what her name was, but Destiny's aunt said that her grandmother had been wanting to get everyone together for years. She had actually even been putting her phone number online to say, hey, if you're related or whatever the case may be, please get in contact with me. So it was like a real moment. Destiny, saw her brothers, and you could just see Destiny being, like I said, the big sister. You could tell that Destiny is the oldest one. She will probably be the one to invite all of these people to Thanksgiving, or she will probably make sure that they continue to have a relationship. I could really see Destiny sort of taking on the mom role in their lives and really just kind of like looking out for them. Although they're all grown, they don't really need another mom, but I could just see Destiny taking on more of a maternal role in their lives. So one of the guys said that he really did not want to meet up with his mom. I can't think of his name. I think their brother's name was Jesse. One of them was Jesse. There were two brothers, but there was one who said he was cool about not meeting up with her. The aunt sort of spoke up for the mom and was saying, hey, your mom was like a big deal back in the day. Like, she wasn't always strung out on drugs. She wasn't always the person that you see today. She had a life. She was working at a club. She was doing all these big things, but unfortunately life happens and their mother, became strung out on drugs. And so, they all sort of took it. Destiny said that she understood why her brother did not want to see their mom. She said, everybody's different, and she said, I have to respect that. And so, that's what they, decided to do. But the rest of them were like, cool. They wanted to actually meet up with their mom. So they finally meet up with the mother, and you could tell mom has gone through some extremely, extremely, extremely hard times. She really didn't even know how to react to her children. Her children really didn't even know how to react to her. And I said this looking at that, it's very sad, because if you have not gone through that, you really don't know what that feels like. You can you feel the pain of it because the relationship that you have with your parents. Like, looking at that, I am very close to my mom. So looking at that, I don't know what I would feel like to have to see my mom in a situation like that, or to not know my mom. I only know the relationship that I have with my mother now. And like I said, we're extremely close. So I don't even know what it would be like not to have a relationship with my mom. Destiny is the only one that actually grew up with her mom, and she and her mom, I can tell her mom, they had that push-pull relationship, not necessarily from Destiny, but there is probably some guilt there with the mom. The mom came in with her sunglasses on. The mom said hello, but the mom never greeted them individually. I don't know if the mom was high at that time. She could have been, or drunk. I'm not sure, but she was there. But you could tell that she was really, really nervous, on pins and needles, not really knowing what to do. And again, they didn't know what to do either. Destiny pretty much was the spokesperson for everyone. I think Paula is the only one that the mom had not met. Destiny introduced them, and Paula, she said, Paula actually looks like you. And the mom said, yeah, I can see that. And so Destiny said, well, Mom, do you have anything to say? They actually refer to her as Rhonda, which is her, her biological name, but that's how they refer to her. And Rhonda said, no, I don't have anything to say. Do they have anything to say? Do you have anything to say to me? And, Destiny said in her confessional, she wished that her mom would let her wall down a little and just kind of be a little nicer to them. And I really felt like that too. I felt like although her mom had made some mistakes, and her mom said it's not that I didn't want my children, but I got involved with drugs. I got involved with things, the lifestyle that I was in. I did not want to drag my children into that. So I was hoping that she would have said that to them, in a way to make them understand and to make them feel a little more comfortable, not just be so defensive and have an attitude, about the situation. But again, Destiny is used to her mother. The others are not. And the ones that have met her, they were extremely quiet, guys. Like, it was just very sad to watch. Maybe some of my, if you're watching this video and if you don't have a great relationship with your mother, my heart goes out to you, because even watching them, all I could do was sort of sit and just kind of like, it was sad. It was like a somber moment just to see that. It was a blessing that they were all together, but it was just sad because her mom just could not let her wall down for whatever reason. And I don't think the kids expected for their mom to sort of embrace them and just be this loving, doting mom, but I think they wanted a little bit more. But then too, they're so used to not having a relationship with her that they just accepted it for what it is. And it was kind of it was kind of sad. So we see the Scott brothers, and we'll go back to Destiny, but we see the Scott brothers, they're in the car. MARSAU and Maurice in the car. Tisha and Kimmy are with them. They're headed to Pontiac, Michigan, and they're talking about, as they were riding along, Maurice said that he saw a house that he worked on years and years and years ago. They talked about how they gained the skill of doing construction by their father and their Uncle Rick. Uncle Rick is actually not their biological uncle. He's just his father's best friend. That's their father's best friend. But they said that they were trained by Uncle Rick and their father about doing construction. They were very happy to be there. You could tell that it was home for them. The memories were just as if it happened yesterday, and you saw a different side of MARSAU and Maurice, not talking about their lives and how they grew up. It wasn't about them leading their wives or telling their wives what to do. You actually saw them reminiscing about growing up as children in Pontiac, Michigan. So when they got there, they met up with Uncle Rick and their father. Their father seemed to be a little standoffish. Kimmy, and I know Kimmy definitely recognized how the father was acting. Of course, he hugged them. He spoke to them. They were talking more to their Uncle Rick. Uncle Rick has like a school, like maybe some type of school or some type of apprenticeship for people who want to get involved in construction and sort of rehabbing homes. He said you could be actually 19 years old or 59 years old. You could still apply to do this apprenticeship. And it seemed like a really, really positive thing that their Uncle Rick was talking about. You could tell that Uncle Rick actually, he knows them pretty well. You could tell he was very friendly with them. As a matter of fact, he asked Kimmy, oh my God, I can't believe you're still married to Maurice. And I said to myself, okay, Rick, what do you know? Because he actually, when he hugged Kimmy, he actually asked her this, like, oh my God, you're still married to this guy? And it was kind of like, okay, he was joking, but it was still alarming at the same time. But anyway, Rick, you know, kind of took them around and showed them the school. And you know, at some point, like while they were walking around, so while MARSAU and Maurice were walking around talking to the guys, Kimmy and LATRICIA actually sat down with Papa Scott to talk to him. I don't think they mentioned his name, and if they did, I didn't get a chance to jot it down. And Kimmy, you know, they sat down and talked to him, and Kimmy asked, you know, what was going on with you? You know, you seem to be a little off or whatever. And he basically said that, you know, he said, look, he said, it's family business. So I was like, okay, that's where the chauvinistic side of them comes out. He told Kimmy and LATRICIA he was off and he needed to discuss some things with the family. They are considered family. I know they're the wives of his sons, but if he needed to talk to his sons, to me, that's what he should have said. He should have said, look, I really need to have a one-on-one with, you know, MARSAU and Maurice. It really has nothing to do with you. I just need to say some things to them. But, you know, so that kind of threw them off. And like I said, this is the guy who actually locked the refrigerator. He seems to be a very intelligent guy, a very articulate guy, but there's also some anger there. There's also, like I said, I could see that he had that other side, so to speak. And that's what I said. This is the guy that Maurice said locked the refrigerator and would not allow them to go in the refrigerator and get something to eat. He said that he said and done things, a lot of, you know, that he cannot take back. This is what the father was telling Kimmy and LATRICIA. He said that he was a workaholic when they were younger. He never really spent a lot of time with them. And he said work becomes the other woman. He said in this case, Maurice and MARSAU are hard workers. And yes, the other woman has become their work, but they've also probably had real life other women that you can feel, touch, see, taste, all of that. It wasn't just about work for them. The father said that he was incarcerated, and he said one time before he wondered why he asked MARSAU why didn't he write them and or send him a card while he was there, and he said that MARSAU said he didn't know him. And that was very telling. I can see MARSAU's personality in his father, the way he talked, the way he likes to give advice, all of those things. I could see that part of MARSAU coming from, you know, that he got that from his dad. And the father basically said, you know, they were related, but they had no relationship. And I thought that was so key, because people have to understand, even as a parent or in any relationship, you can be related like a sibling or anything. You can be related to someone and not have a relationship with them. You could have the same blood running through your veins and not have anything in common with that person, not even know that person, not really know anything about that person. And that's very sad. And I think that our families, I can't speak for other races and other cultures, but I can speak for us. I think that some of us have done a pretty good job at trying to be family and really be close. But then on the other end, some of us have not. Some of us have had this mentality in our race and our culture to do as I say, but not as I do. The parents and grandparents have sort of ruled with an iron fist. They did not really get to know their children. They were softer with their grandkids, but they didn't get to know their children. And it was just all about working. I provide for you. I put a roof over your head and all of that. But there's nothing wrong with being nice to your kids. There's nothing wrong with showing affection to your kids. There's nothing wrong with wanting better for your kids. And even if you didn't have that, I know sometimes you may not know how to express that, but there's so many tools out here that will show you that you don't have to be the exact same way that your parents were. And that's what MARSAU's father was saying. He said he kind of lived vicariously through the grandkids, because when the grandkids had graduation parties or birthday parties and he was around, he could celebrate the grandkids. He was never able to do that for his children growing up. And that's bad. That's really, really bad that he's saying that. I'm glad that he came to the realization of that, but it's also bad because MARSAU and Maurice and Micah or some of the other brothers never really, really got what they deserved from their father. I hope that going forward, their father will try their best or try his best to do a better job in just communicating with them where they are. You can't go back in time. You can't fix everything that was wrong back in time. You have to start with today. You have to start with now and just work your way forward. You can apologize for the past, but you can only try to be better from where you are now. So I hope that he really does have that conversation with them and move forward and let the wall come down, be a little humble and say, you know, despite how I was, my children made it. So Kimmy said, well, how was your father? You know, did you have, I think LATRICIA said, were you close to him? And apparently he had the same kind of relationship with his father. So that generational curse, that generational thing that happens over and over and over again, it has to stop. It does appear that MARSAU is very close to his kids. Maurice does have a relationship with Monster. MARSAU seems to be a little softer toward his children over Maurice. I do understand that Maurice has older daughters. I don't know what that relationship is like because they have not been on the show, but hopefully they both are working on being better fathers to their children than their father was to them. So that was a good scene, guys. I mean, it gave us, like I said, an insight to a little bit more of the Scott brothers and why they are the way they are. We saw their father, and in seeing their father, we also saw a little bit of them. So that conversation was really, really, really good. So then they went back to Destiny. Destiny had a conversation with her mom. She said, you know, hey, Mom, despite everything, I love you. Before, I didn't say it, but before, the mom was kind of sort of just getting a little riled up in the last scene that they had with all the siblings. So Destiny said, look, let's cut, let's move on. Destiny went to the final scene that she had with her mom. She was alone with her mother. And she said, well, initially it was her sister, and they were talking about how her mom was acting, her mom was singing, and, you know, Destiny always said her mom had a beautiful voice. Well, anyway, the mom comes out. Destiny said, Mom, I love you despite anything. You know, Destiny's mother goes into a rant about her father's crazy and all these other things, and I liked how Destiny handled her. Destiny did not allow her mother to get under her skin so bad that she acted out. She kept calm. She knew that her mother wanted to sort of make this about her. She knew that her mom wanted to change the narrative and make it more negative than positive. And Destiny stayed right in that pocket and said, I'm not going to let you do it. It's all good. I still love you. Destiny is very concerned about her mom's health. She said her mom has always been a very slender woman, but her mom is extremely small. Destiny's mother said, well, don't worry about me, whether I live or die, don't worry about me. And of course, that's hurtful to any child for your parent to say, because you love your parent despite anything and you want them to be okay. But Destiny handled it well. She said she's been in therapy and she's had to learn how to be empathetic toward her mother. She's learned not to let it trigger her. And I love that about Destiny. Despite what people feel about Destiny and her arguments with the ladies over the years or things she said, I really saw, I could say in that moment, if we've never seen growth in Destiny, we saw growth in her. We saw her handle the situation like a grown, mature adult woman. Destiny was almost like the mom in the situation with her mother. It was almost like the roles were reversed. She was the mom and her mother was acting like a little childish teenager or whatever. But anyway, great episode. I really hope that Paula and Destiny can remain close. I hope, like I said, Destiny can kind of keep the siblings going and just keep the lines of communication open. And I really hope and pray the best for her mom. I hope that her mom can get clean. I hope that her mom can get some help. I hope that her mom, in some way, before she even closes her eyes, she can make peace with her life, her children, and everything that's happened. And, you know, like I said, they may not be one big happy family, but I would like for there to be some peace there with all of them. So that was the episode. It was a great episode. Like I said, it gave us a bigger it gave us more insight to who Destiny is. It gave us more insight to who MARSAU and Maurice are. And I love the episode. This is what we need to see more of on reality TV. Because when we look at it, this is real. This is the real. This is reality. Not all the drama all the time. Not all of the, you know, things that they make up and they force on us and they force it and shove it down our throats. This is reality, guys. So this is what it was about. So, you know, like I said, I hope I gave you as much, I try to give you as much detail of it as I possibly can, because I know sometimes people don't have time to watch. OWN is not a network that a lot of people have, even through all of their streaming services and stuff like that. And I know sometimes you just don't have time to just sit down and watch all this television all the time. So that's why I try to give you as much detail as I can. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone else who loves Love and Marriage Huntsville and they may not get an opportunity to watch watch the episode, please feel free to share my video. I would love for you to do that. Also, if you feel free, please feel free to give me a shout out, you know, leave a comment for me. I love to, you know, hear back from you guys. I know that's not everybody's thing, but please leave me a comment if you so wish to do so. As long as you're, you know, respectful, it's all good. We're not going to always agree. We can agree to disagree. I'm the type of person that sometimes you can, you know, say something to me and it makes me sort of look at the situation a little differently and vice versa. So like I said, give me a shout out. But anyway, guys, I hope that you have a great day. I am going to review Married to Medicine. The part 1 of their reunion is tonight, so I will definitely be doing that. And I will have a review up for you tomorrow, sometime probably midday tomorrow. So if you like Married to Medicine, come on back to my channel and I'll have that for you. But until then, guys, I will see you on the next video. Bye.